Thank you very much for this opportunity to introduce you to the Bernard and Sophia Gordon Engineering Leadership Center at UCSD. And thanks to Bernard and Sophia Gordon for their generosity and vision in helping us establish this center. Our vision is to identify talented students with leadership potential through a competitive application and selection process, and to teach them the principles, theory, attitudes, and skill sets required to be effective engineering leaders through a defined set of courses at the undergraduate, graduate, and professional levels.
The namesake and benefactor of the Leadership Center, Bernard Gordon, is a philanthropist and inventor who holds more than 200 patents, including many through his company Analogic Corporation, and he is the quintessential engineering leader.
Inventor, philanthropist, Boy Scout, Navy officer. Bernie Gordon has been all of those things, but above all, he's an engineer and an evangelist for engineering leadership.
If nothing else, the function of engineering is to make jobs, building things that the society needs.
With more than 200 patents to his name, Gordon's inventions have paved the way for modern electronics and changed the practice of medical care. After a stint in the U.S. Navy and earning his master's in 1949 from MIT on the GI Bill, Gordon helped build the world's first commercial digital computer, the UNIVAC, with computing pioneer Presper Eckert.
Eckert's view was that any engineer should be able to engineer anything. He taught me how to understand the economics of the engineering, how to push, drive, motivate engineers to accomplish what had to be accomplished.
Gordon later developed the world's first high-speed analog to digital converter and set up shop in a room behind a gas station.
We sent out 40 telegrams from the gas station, and the next morning, Stanley Rogers of Convair San Diego called on the phone, and they ordered 300 analog to digital converters and 300 new devices to be developed to work with them, and they set us off in business from San Diego.
Gordon became known as the father of high-speed A to D conversion. His company, EBSCO, eventually grew to 3,000 employees. Now a member of the Jacobs School Council of Advisors, Gordon tells young engineers to look out for the people they are leading.
You give the credit to them. You make them feel good. And, most important, you take the risk off their back. The risk is on your back.
Our goal is also to expose students to the advice, experience, and attitudes of proven engineering leaders through a series of workshops, leadership forums, and summer schools. We reward outstanding engineering leadership through the Gordon Engineering Leadership Awards and measure success of and continuously improve the center's programs by means of surveys and tracking the progress of students and alumni.
Well, for me, I think it was the confidence and the awareness. So I feel a lot more confident in my leadership because I feel like I have this label now and I can say, oh, I'm a Gordon Scholar. And in some circles, it brings you a little bit of clout, but more is the awareness. So I found out what networks are out there, what sort of leaders there are, and really awareness about myself. So through the engineering leadership class, I got to sit down and say, okay, what is it about me that makes Sarah Sarah? And I was able to explore that and put words and definitions to things that were only feelings before. So it was really an exploration of myself and an awareness of what's around in the community.
Let me tell you a little bit how our program is structured. We are addressing the entire range from high schoolers to undergraduate students to graduate students, as well as experienced professionals, each with their own programs within the Gordon Center. And we also foster the communication between these groups by inviting them together to our forums and workshops.
Well, one of the things I enjoyed the most about the Gordon Center program was seeing the different approaches various engineering leaders have taken to leadership, via the military aspect, through some of the military engineering leaders we've had, or going through commercial, or even doing some through academia. The route taken isn't, it's not always going to be the same, but it's not really the route taken that's quite as important, in my opinion, as the mindset And some of that, and I've learned a little bit more about the mindset, and that it isn't really the route that's important. Any way you go, you can become an engineering leader. You just have to you have to want it, and you have to pursue it.
So in these workshops and forums, we bring engineering leaders to campus and have these leaders relay their own story in their own words about what made them engineering leaders and what the benefit to society of their engineering leadership has been.
Future engineering leaders are going to have to find all new ways of incorporating the most recent advances in information technology to run their businesses smarter and faster to meet an ever increasingly rapid world of change.
I'd say, if you look at global competition, the acceleration of everything in our society, increasing standards, it's just going to be a harder job. And so the future leaders, they're going to have to be smarter, they're going to have to be more flexible, and they're going to have to come into the job better prepared for leadership.
Male, female, all races, all different ethnicities. I think it's important that we have a lot of diversity in the engineering workforce.
They'll look like anybody out on the street, number one. I think that the essence of leaders of and engineers of the future are that they are going to be diverse, and in fact the leaders are going to need to perhaps first and foremost be inclusive, recognizing that talent and skill and solution can come from anybody, anywhere, anytime.
You have to make sure that you understand schedules, cost, contracts, marketing.
I think tomorrow's engineering leader is the savviest business executive in the company.
As engineering projects become more and more complicated and more global, more and more interdisciplinary, I think you'll see future engineering leaders have to manage all of those aspects, that they will need to deal with teams that are dispersed globally, customers who are generating requirements that are dispersed globally, and also deal with people who are from many fields outside of engineering.
The undergraduate program at the Gordon Center is an addition to the regular curriculum that all undergraduate students go through in the Jacobs School of Engineering. It starts with a competitive selection process to admission in the center, and then requires of the students to take 2 classes, one on team engineering. The second one is a new class that we have designed and developed for the Gordon Center, and it is the engineering leadership class for undergraduate students. All undergraduate students also perform a challenge project in which they have to complete an engineering challenge to budget and on time. And they are also invited to participate in our workshops and forums so that they are exposed to engineering leaders on campus.
I worked with a team of students at SDG&E looking at the feasibility of residential batteries to help integrate solar power into the grid.
Our graduate program also has a competitive selection process. Then the graduate students who are part of the program can choose between 2 courses that we have established for the Gordon Center. One is the Engineering Leadership in Academia course, and the second one is the Systems Engineering Leadership course, both of which are currently in the approval process at UCSD. Our graduate students also have to participate during their tenure in the program in one summer school where we are in-depth exploring an engineering challenge. Last year, for instance, we had automotive and avionics systems engineering. This year we're tackling the topic of energy.
I was reading through the description of the program and I realized that I really need more leadership skill. I need more experience. I need the skill set and experience as well to become a better leader in the biomedical field, because just by completing all the coursework, I can't probably communicate and manage effectively with people.
The Gordon Engineering Leadership Center recently completed its first full academic year, putting in place these structures to support courses, which will be held at least once a year, as well as forums and workshops, which are hosted quarterly. The Gordon Center has also launched a series of hands-on visits for Gordon scholars to area companies, all with the goal of grooming the engineering leaders of tomorrow in line with the vision of Bernard and Sophia Gordon.